The stranger in the snow. Jack lived alone on the edge of a frozen forest. The wind outside was always cold, and snow covered the ground like a thick white blanket. His small wooden house stood far from the city. He liked it that way, quiet, peaceful, and safe. One night, as the wind howled louder than usual, Jack was sitting near the fireplace. He held a hot cup of coffee and stared at the flames. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound like something heavy falling outside. Thump. Jack stood up. He looked at the door, then at the window. The forest was dark. The snow was falling hard. He waited. Nothing. Silence. Then, again, thump. It was close. He put on his coat, grabbed his flashlight, and stepped outside. The cold air hit his face like a slap. Snow crunched under his boots. He moved slowly, pointing the light in front of him. Then he saw it. A figure in the snow. Lying face down, not moving. He rushed closer. It was a woman, but not human. Her skin was pale blue, her body thin and long. She had strange silver lines running along her arms, like tattoos. Her hair was white as snow, her eyes closed, and she was shaking from the cold. Jack hesitated for a moment, but only for a moment. He took off his coat and wrapped it around her. "Hey, are you okay? Can you hear me?" She didn't answer. He looked around. No one else. Just trees and snow. He lifted her up carefully. She was light, too light, like she hadn't eaten in days. He carried her back to his house. Inside, he placed her near the fire and wrapped her in blankets. Her breathing was weak. Jack boiled some water, made soup, and waited. Hours passed. Finally, her eyes opened. They were bright violet, glowing softly in the dark room. She looked around, then at him. Her eyes widened in fear. She tried to sit up, but her body was too weak. She fell back. "It's okay," Jack said, raising his hands. "You're safe. I found you outside. You were freezing." She didn't speak, just stared. Jack slowly moved the soup toward her. "Eat. You need food." She looked at the bowl, then at him again. After a moment, she took it. Her hands shook, but she ate quickly like she hadn't eaten in a long time. Jack smiled a little. "Good. Still." She said nothing. When she finished, she pulled the blanket tighter around her and looked at the fire. Her body stopped shaking. "You don't talk much, huh?" Jack said. Her eyes moved back to him. She opened her mouth. "You safe?" Jack raised an eyebrow. "Yes, I'm safe. And so are you." She nodded slowly. Then, to Jack's surprise, she whispered, "Mine." "Excuse me." She pointed to him. "Mine." Jack laughed nervously. "I think you're confused." But she didn't smile. She kept staring at him like he was something important, something she couldn't lose. Jack stood up. "Look, I'll call the city. They can help. Maybe someone is looking for you." Her eyes widened. "No," she said quickly. "No city. No call." Jack paused. Her fear looked real. "What happened to you?" he asked. She looked down. "Run. Hide." Jack didn't understand. "From who?" She didn't answer. That night, she didn't sleep in the extra room. She followed Jack everywhere. When he went to the kitchen, she followed. When he sat on the couch, she sat on the floor near his feet. When he went to bed, she curled up outside his bedroom door. Jack didn't know what to think. She was strange, but not dangerous. Scared, but strong in some strange way. He decided not to call anyone yet. Not until he knew more. He watched her sleep near the fire. Her breathing was soft now. She looked peaceful. But something told him this was only the beginning. Something was coming. Something was watching. And Jack had just stepped into a story far bigger than he ever imagined. Morning came, but the sky was still dark and cloudy. Snow fell quietly outside. Inside the cabin, the fire was low. Jack opened his eyes slowly and sat up in bed. She was there, sitting on the floor, next to the door, her back straight, eyes watching him. "Did you sleep?" Jack asked. She blinked. "Once." He slept. Jack rubbed his face. "Yeah, that's usually what people do at night." She tilted her head. "You are people." He chuckled. "Yeah, I'm a human. Name's Jack." She pointed to herself. "Rhea," he repeated. "All right, that's progress." Jack stood and walked into the kitchen. He poured water into a kettle and lit the stove. Rhea followed, barefoot and silent. "Do you need something?" he asked. She didn't answer. Jack made tea and handed her a cup. She took it with both hands, sipped carefully, then followed him again, back to the fireplace. "You don't have to follow me around," he said. "You're safe now." She didn't stop. Jack sat on the couch. trying to ignore her stare. After a few minutes, he turned on the small radio on the shelf. A weak signal crackled in. This is Central Colony News. Snowstorms continue. Travel restricted. Stay indoors. Jack sighed. Looks like you're stuck here for a bit. Rhea's voice was soft. I stay. Jack looked at her. No, I mean you'll stay until you're better. Then we'll figure something out. Take you to the city. There's help there. Rhea's eyes narrowed. No city. No others. Jack frowned. Why? Are you in trouble? She looked away. They find me. Who? She shook her head. Bad ones. Took my people. I ran. Jack sat up straighter. You escaped. Rhea nodded. Her hands tightened around the teacup. They hunt. Always hunt. Jack felt a chill not from the cold, but from her voice. She wasn't just scared. She was running for her life. I don't know who you are, he said carefully, but I can't protect you forever. Someone's going to come looking for you. Maybe they already are. Rhea looked at him sharply. Then I protect you. Jack raised an eyebrow. What? I owe you, she said. You gave me warmth, food, life. Jack sighed. That's just being human. Rhea shook her head. No, that's rare. Later, Jack tried to contact the city again. He turned on the communicator, clicked through channels. This is Jack Ryder, calling from Sector 12. I've got a situation here. Found someone not local. Might need medics or security. A faint signal. Then static. Jack adjusted the antenna. Suddenly, Rhea stood beside him, eyes glowing, faint purple. Stop. Jack froze. Why? She stepped forward. The lights in the room flickered, and then the communicator died. The screen turned black. All power in the cabin shut off. Lights, heater, even the fridge. What the hell? Jack said, tapping the machine. No power. He turned toward Rhea. Her hands were glowing faintly. She looked calm. Did you do that? Rhea nodded. You broke my house. No city, she said firmly. No call. Promise. Jack stood there, stunned. You can control machines. Some, she said. Energy answers me. Not always. Only when I feel. Jack rubbed his forehead. So, what? Now I can't call for help without everything going dark. You promised, Rhea said softly. I didn't promise anything. She stared at him, then whispered again. Mine. Jack turned away. You can't just claim people like that. I helped you, that's all. You saved me. No one else did. That doesn't mean suddenly. They both turned. A sound outside. Footsteps. Heavy ones. Jack moved to the window. Rhea stood behind him, her hands glowing. Again. In the snow. A shape moved between the trees. Someone or something was out there. Jack grabbed his coat and flashlight. Stay here. Rhea didn't move. No, I'll just look. Could be an animal. No, she said again, more firmly. Danger. Jack opened the door slowly. Cold wind rushed in. He stepped onto the porch. Silence. He moved forward. Light sweeping across the snow. Then dash tracks. Footprints. Too big to be human. He followed them a few steps. They ended at the tree line. Nothing there. He turned around. Rhea stood in the doorway. Suddenly, the communicator inside sparked and turned back on by itself. A voice crackled through. We know she's with you. Hand her over, and we won't burn your home. The voice was cold, robotic. Jack's blood froze. Rhea's eyes glowed bright. Her voice shook. They found me. Jack stepped back inside. Locked the door. Who are they? Rhea's voice was low. Hunters. Trackers. They do not forgive. They do not stop. Jack looked around the dark room. No power. No weapons. One strange alien woman. And now someone dangerous was outside waiting. He looked at Rhea. She looked at him. They both knew. This was only the beginning. The storm had not stopped. Snow piled high outside Jack's cabin. Inside, the air felt heavy. No machines worked. No lights. Only the soft crackle of firewood in the stone fireplace. Jack sat at the table, staring at Rhea. She sat on the floor, legs crossed, eyes closed. Her breathing was calm, but Jack could feel something was wrong. Like she was listening for danger. What are they? Jack asked. Rhea opened her eyes. The ones outside, Jack said. The voice on the radio. Who are they? She didn't answer Rhea. He said firmly. I need to know what I'm dealing with. You can't keep everything a secret. She stared at the fire, then spoke in a low voice. They are called Dralik. Not born, made machines with minds. They serve the ones above. Jack frowned. The ones above. She nodded. Rulers cruel. They take many species, control them, change them, And you? I escaped, she said, from the cage. Jack leaned forward. You were a prisoner? Yes, she said, her voice sharp with pain. All my kind, we were used. Not for war, not for power, for testing. Jack's fists clenched. That's why you ran. I was the first to run far. The others didn't make it. Jack looked away. He felt sick. You didn't just fall from the sky. You were running for your life. Rhea nodded. They don't like escape. It means control is broken. They will chase across stars to fix it. Jack stood and walked to the window. Snow blew against the glass. You said they're machines. Yes, but smart. They wear skins like people. Hide in plain sight. Jack's eyes narrowed. Wait, what do you mean skins like people? Rhea looked at him. They can look human, if they want. Just then a knock on the door. Not hard. Not soft. Just control. Jack froze. Rhea's eyes flared purple. Another knock. Jack grabbed the fire poker. Stay behind me, he whispered. Rhea stood, silent as a shadow. Jack opened the door slowly. A man stood outside. Tall, clean clothes, black gloves. His eyes were blue to blue, glowing faintly. Evening, the man said. His voice was smooth, emotionless. May I come in? I'm without his own security. Jack didn't move. We're not expecting visitors. I know, the man said. We're tracking a missing life form. Dangerous. Possibly injured. Seen anything unusual? Jack shook his head. No, just snow and silence. The man smiled. But his eyes didn't. Mind if I look around? Yes, Jack said. I do mind. The man's smile faded. His voice grew cold. We are authorized to inspect any private shelter within the colony zone. Jack tightened his grip on the poker. And I'm authorized to protect my home. For a moment, neither moved. Then the man's hand twitched. Rhea stepped forward. The man's eyes shifted. You, he said. Not surprised, not angry, just focused. There you are. Jack slammed the door. Back, he shouted. The wall shook as something hit it hard. Jack grabbed Rhea's hand and pulled her toward the back door. Out, he yelled. Now they ran into the snow behind them. The front door burst open. Jack and Rhea rushed into the trees. Breath visible in the freezing air. The man followed, but not like a man. He moved too fast, too smooth. His legs didn't sink in the snow. His body didn't shiver. Jack turned and threw the poker. It hit the man's chest. No effect. Keep running, Jack shouted. They reached a ridge. Below it, a small old cabin stood, empty, abandoned. Jack had used it for storing tools years ago. They rushed inside and slammed the door, breathing hard. Jack looked at Rhea. Now what? He's a damn machine. Rhea raised her hands. Energy sparked at her fingertips. Jack backed up. What are you doing? Protecting us, she said. Her voice echoed strangely. She placed both hands on the wooden walls. Glowing light ran through. The cracks like blue veins in the wood. Outside, the machine man reached the cabin and stopped. He stared at the door, tilted his head, then stepped back and walked away. Jack peeked out. Why is he leaving? He felt the barrier. Rhea said weakly, I used energy. But it drains me. She fell to her knees. Jack caught her. Hey, don't pass out now. I need rest. Just time. He helped her to a dusty cot. Jack sat beside her. What now? He whispered. Rhea looked at him, barely awake. They know you helped me, she said. You are not just human now. You are part of this. Jack stared into the dark forest outside. I didn't ask for that. Rhea smiled faintly. Neither did I. Then her eyes closed. Jack sat there, heart still pounding. Outside, the storm was dying down, but the real storm had just begun. The cabin was silent. Jack sat by the small window, watching the trees. He hadn't slept. His hands held a rusty old rifle he had found under the floorboards. His father's hunting weapon. It hadn't been used in years, but it was something. Rhea was still weak. She slept on the cot in the corner, covered in an old blanket. Her skin looked dull now. Her glow faded. Jack stood and checked the door again. Still locked. Still quiet. Too quiet. Then a low humming sound began. Faint, like a whisper in the air. It grew louder, sharper. Jack stepped outside. Above the trees, a black ship hovered silent and smooth. No wings. No noise. Just floating. Watching. Jack's stomach dropped. They found us, Rhea said behind him. He turned. She stood at the door, swaying, her energy still low. How? Jack asked. They never stop, she said softly. They follow scent. Signal. Anything they want me back. Jack's voice was firm. They're not taking you. She looked up at him. You would fight them. I already am, he said. Minutes later, 3 figures dropped from the ship. They landed without sound. Black armor. No faces. Their movements were too perfect to smooth. Machines. Jack raised the rifle. Stay back. One of them stepped forward. A small glowing device in its hand. We do not wish to harm you. Human, it said in a flat, lifeless voice. Surrender. The stolen unit. Raya stepped beside Jack. I am not a unit. You were not given freedom, the machine said. I took it, Raya replied. Jack aimed. She stays. The lead machine tilted its head. Unwise. Then they moved. Fast. Jack fired. The shot hit one machine in the shoulder. It sparked, but didn't stop. The others rushed forward. Raya raised her hands. Light burst from her palms. A wave of blue energy pushed 2 of them back, but it drained her. She dropped to one knee. Jack swung the rifle like a bat, hitting the 3rd one in the head. Metal cracked, and it fell. But one machine got up. It grabbed Jack, lifting him by the neck. Human. Fragile. Weak, it said. Jack gasped. You don't know us. Suddenly Raya screamed. A blast of light exploded from her chest. The machine holding Jack flew across the cabin and crashed through the wall. Raya fell again, barely breathing. The ship above hummed louder. A beam of red light locked onto the roof. They're going to destroy the cabin, Jack shouted. He grabbed Raya, pulled her toward the back door. They ran. The ship fired. A white-hot beam burned through the roof. The cabin exploded behind them. Jack and Raya rolled down the snowy hill. Smoke filled the air. They landed near a frozen stream. Jack sat up, coughing. Raya lay still. No, Raya, Jack shouted, shaking her. Come on, don't do this. She opened her eyes slowly. I'm here. Jack held her close. We can't keep running. They're not going to stop. Raya looked weak. You should leave me. Jack shook his head. Not happening. Raya touched his hand. You are different. I felt it the first night. That's why I stayed. Jack stood, helping her up. Then let's stop running. Let's fight. But how? She asked. Jack looked up at the dark sky. You said they want control, right? Then they're afraid of people who won't follow. People who fight back. Raya nodded yes. Then maybe we show them what humans do when someone threatens their home. They walked through the forest until they reached a cave Jack knew from childhood. It went deep into the rock, hard to find, easy to defend. Inside, Jack made a fire and used broken tools to build traps around the entrance tripwires. Sharp stakes, old fuel tanks. He looked at Raya. Rest. I've got this. Raya smiled faintly. You planned like a warrior. Jack laughed. I'm just a guy who doesn't like bullies. Night fell again. The machines came. 3 more dropped into the trees. They moved carefully this time. But Jack was ready. As one stepped on a tripwire boomer, small fuel tank exploded, throwing it backward. Another stepped into a pit trap. Its leg caught between sharp metal poles. Jack fired from behind a rock, hitting the 3rd in the chest. Sparks flew. It tried to reach him, but Raya stood behind it. She touched the machine. Light flowed from her hand and the machine froze. Then dropped. Jack stared. What did you do? I ended its code, she said. No violence, just silence. The last machine limped toward the ship, but Jack grabbed Raya's hand. Together, they faced it. Jack raised his voice. Tell your masters, she's not going back, and if you come again, we won't be running. The machine paused, then vanished in a flash of light. Taken by the ship above. The ship didn't attack again. It turned and left. Jack and Raya stood in the snow, breathing hard. They'll return, Raya said quietly. Then we'll be ready, Jack answered. She looked at him with new eyes. Not like a protector, but like an equal. They came for me, she said. Jack smiled. And now they'll remember who they messed with. The cave was quiet. Wind howled outside, but inside, the fire was warm. Jack sat beside Raya, both wrapped in old blankets. The last battle had left them tired physically and mentally. For now, they were safe. Jack stared into the flames. You said they won't stop. Raya nodded slowly. They don't understand stop. Jack rubbed the back of his neck. Then we need a plan. Something smarter than hiding in caves forever. Raya turned to him. We're connected now. He raised an eyebrow. Because of the light thing that marked. Jack looked down at his hand. A faint glow pulsed under his skin, just a small circle with strange symbols. It had appeared after Raya saved him the first time. What is it? He asked. It's a life link. Raya said softly. Rare among my kind. When one gives protection, the bond is formed. Jack sat back. So what does it do? Raya closed her eyes. We feel each other. Pain, emotion, sometimes thoughts. In danger, we can reach one another across great distances. Jack whistled. You mean like telepathy? Only in moments of truth, Raya said. The bond is not a tool. It's a connection. Jack gave a short laugh. He didn't tell me I was signing up for this. Raya smiled slightly. Neither did I. Later that night, Jack fell asleep beside the fire. And then, the dream came. But it wasn't like other dreams. He saw Raya standing on a black mountain, under a burning red sky. Around her were machines, hundreds of them. Ships filled the sky. Cities below were on fire. He saw Earth is Earth with the same red sky above it. Smoke covered the oceans. Towers crumbled. Raya turned to him in the vision. They are coming, she said. Jack woke up with a gasp. His shirt was wet with sweat. The fire had died down. Raya sat across from him, watching. You saw it, she whispered. Jack nodded slowly. The red sky. The cities burning. Earth. She closed her eyes. Part of the bond. You touched my memory. And something more. Jack leaned forward. That wasn't just your past. That was the future, wasn't it? Raya didn't answer. Jack stood. You said they chase you across stars. That they control many worlds. Sooner or later, they'll come to mine. Raya looked up at him. They already have. Jack froze. What? They watch Earth, Raya said. From far away. Not yet ready to take. But close. Very close. Jack ran a hand through his hair. Then we have to warn people. Tell someone. Military. Leaders. Anyone. Raya, look down. They won't believe you. Jack sat beside her again. Then we make them believe. She looked at him. You fight for others. Even when they don't know. Jack nodded. That's what being human means. The next day, they began to move. Jack fixed a broken radio from an old cabin nearby. With Raya's help, her strange energy sparking the circuits, it came back to life. He tuned it to open channels. Mayday. This is Jack Ryder, Sector 12. Alien contact confirmed. Hostile machines. This is not a joke. The only answer was static. Hours passed. Then a voice. Jack Ryder. Repeat your message. Over. Jack grinned. Finally, he explained everything well. Not everything. He left out the bond. The dreams. The glowing hand. But he told the truth about Raya, the machines, the attacks. The voice on the other side said they'd send a patrol in 3 days. 3 days, Jack said, turning to Raya. We just have to survive that long. Raya nodded. They'll come faster than that. That night, Raya grew quiet. Jack sat beside her, eating cold stew. You okay? She looked at him. There's something else. What? The bond. It grows stronger when we trust, and when we share pain. Jack raised an eyebrow. Are you saying you want to share pain? She shook her head. No, I want to share truth. She reached out and touched his hand. Jack gasped. Suddenly he was inside her memory. He saw her as a child, taken from her homeworld. He felt her fear, her confusion, her anger. He saw the cold white labs, machines cutting, testing, other children crying. He saw her first escape alone, bleeding, hiding in a dark ship. Then, he saw something else, a strange, tall being with eyes like fire watching Earth, from a great distance, planning, measuring, double quotes. I saw it, Jack whispered. The one behind all this. Raya nodded. They don't just want control. They want to break hope. Jack stood. Then we give them the one thing they can't take. What's that? Raya asked. Jack looked into the night sky. Us. The snow had stopped. Clear skies stretched above the frozen forest. But peace was a lie. Jack and Raya both felt it, the silence before the storm. They had 3 days. Maybe less. Jack had contacted the colony defense group. Help was on the way, but slow, cautious, and doubtful. They don't fully believe you, Raya said. Jack looked up from the map he had drawn in the snow. Yeah, I could hear it in their voice. They think I'm just another paranoid farmer. Raya sat beside him. Then we show them truth. That day, they hiked back toward the edge of the colony border. A small town called Silverreach sat there, mostly miners and traders. Jack had friends there. He hoped they'd listen. They reached the town before sunset. It was quiet, but lights were on. Smoke rose from chimneys. People were alive, working, unaware of the danger flying toward them. Jack knocked. On a metal door it opened. A man with a thick beard stepped out. Jack Ryder. You're alive. Good to see you, Mason, Jack said. Mason's eyes moved to Rhea. Who's she? She's the reason I'm still breathing, Jack said. Inside the town hall, Jack stood before a dozen colony members. Miners, engineers, 2 ex-soldiers. Rhea stood behind him. Silent. Jack spoke clearly. They're not just machines. They're smarter than you think. They want her back, and if they don't get her, they'll destroy everything. Some people scoffed. One man crossed his arms. And we're supposed to believe that thing is friendly? Rhea stepped forward. Her voice was calm. I was taken, used, I escaped. They want control. But not just over me, over all of you. A woman stood. She speaks better than half of us. A few laughed. Uneasy. Jack raised his hand. I don't care if you trust her, but you do need to prepare. They're coming. I've seen what they do to cities. To people. Double quotes. Silence. Then Mason spoke. What do we do? The next 2 days were fire and steel. They turned the mining gear into weapons, set traps, reinforced buildings. Jack worked side by side with the townspeople. Rhea, still recovering, taught them weak points in the enemy machines. She charged old batteries with her energy. She gave them hope. At night, Jack and Rhea sat on the roof of the town hall, watching the stars. Do you think we'll survive? She asked. Jack didn't answer right away. I don't know. But I'll fight like I do. Rhea smiled. Your people. Strange, brave, foolish. We call it stubborn. She looked at him. I call it beautiful. On the 3rd morning, the sky darkened. No clouds. Just shadows. Just ships. Black. Silent ships. Jack stood in the middle of the town square, rifle on his shoulder. Mason joined him. Well, you were right. Wish I wasn't, Jack said. Rhea stepped beside him. Her eyes glowed faintly. I feel them. They're near. Then they landed. 3 ships touched down outside the town. 30 machines marched out. All black. No faces. No fear. One stepped forward. A voice echoed through a speaker. Surrender. The stolen unit. Final warning. Jack stepped forward. She's not stolen. She's free. You are outnumbered. Your weapons are primitive. Your chance is 0. Jack raised his rifle. Then you've never met humans, he fired. The machines moved fast. But this time, so did the town. Traps triggered. Explosives roared. The first wave of enemies fell, crushed by collapsing towers, and buried under fire from above. Miners with pulse guns fired from rooftops. One machine reached a bunker only to be ripped apart by Rhea's glowing hand. She moved like lightning, her power now stronger, more focused. Jack covered her left side. She turned and blasted 3 machines back with a wave of blue light. Then a giant machine dropped from the larger ship, 10 feet tall, heavier, armor, red eyes. Jack stared. That's new, Rhea whispered. It's a Hunter Prime. The giant machine spoke. Target confirmed. Bonded unit. Terminate both. It charged. Jack fired again, and again no effect. Rhea stepped forward, but the Prime struck her hard. She flew back into a wall. Rhea. Jack ran to her, helped her up. Her voice was weak. We must end it from inside. The core, the ship. Jack looked up at the enemy ship. You want to board it? She nodded. Then let's do something stupid. Together, they ran through the chaos. Rhea used her power to shut down the ship's shield. Jack climbed up the landing ramp, dragging her with him. Inside, cold metal walls hummed. At the center, a glowing orb pulsed a power cord. Jack aimed, then stopped. Rhea placed her hand on the orb. It will destroy the ship, and me. Jack shook his head. No, there's another way. He placed his hand beside hers. The bond mark glowed bright, so bright it lit the ship's walls. Then, energy burst from their hands, a blinding wave. Outside, the ship cracked. Machines fell. Signals died. The giant machine froze, then collapsed. Silence. Silence. Back in the town. People stood, staring at the sky. The ships were gone. The machines were gone. Jack and Rhea walked out of the burning wreck, burned, bruised, but alive. The town cheered. Mason hugged Jack. You crazy fool. You did it. Jack smiled. Not alone. Rhea stood beside him, the bond between them glowing brighter than ever. The battle was over. Smoke drifted across the snow-covered field. Machines lay broken like twisted statues. The sky was quiet now. No more shadows. No more ships. Just peace. For now, Jack sat on the steps of the town hall, arms resting on his knees. His jacket was torn. His face was bruised. But he smiled. They had survived. Rhea stood nearby, her back to him, watching the horizon. The wind brushed her silver hair across her face. The glowing mark on her hand pulsed gently. Jack walked over to her. "You okay?" he asked. She didn't look at him. "I feel strange, lighter, like something heavy is gone." Jack nodded. That was fear. "You've been carrying it a long time." Rhea turned slowly. "You showed me something I never had." "What's that?" She stepped closer. "Choice." That night, the people of Silver Reach celebrated. Fires burned bright. Food was shared. Music played on old radios. Kids danced in the snow. Jack and Rhea sat near the edge of town, away from the noise. He looked up at the stars. "You know, I used to look at those lights and wonder what was out there." Rhea smiled softly. "Now you know." "Yeah," he said. "Turns out, what's out there isn't always friendly." Rhea's voice turned serious. "They'll come again. Not here, but somewhere. They never stop." Jack looked at her. "Then we'll be ready." Rhea hesitated. "You still want me to go?" Jack was quiet. He remembered how she had collapsed in the snow, starving, afraid. He remembered her tears, her strength, her fire. "You don't have to go," he said. "Not if you don't want to." Her eyes shimmered. "Even after all of this, especially after all this," she reached for his hand. "Then I won't let go," he smiled. "Good, because neither will I." In the following weeks, word spread. Other colonies began listening. Reports of strange ships, missing scouts, broken machines found in the wild all confirmed what Jack and Rhea had said. The government sent envoys to Silver Reach. They interviewed Jack, took photos of the machines, examined the wrecked ship. They asked many questions, but one answer remained the same. Earth was not alone anymore. Jack built a new cabin just outside the town, this time with solar panels, reinforced walls, and a proper bed. Rhea helped design the layout. She drew strange symbols in the wall's energy markers. She called them, in case they return. Some nights, Jack caught her staring at the stars. "You miss your people?" he asked. "I miss what we were before the cages," she replied, "but I don't feel lost anymore." Jack looked at her. "You're home now," she smiled. "I am." One afternoon, Rhea brought Jack an old datapad she had recovered from the wrecked ship. "There's something I want to show you." She powered it up with her hand. The screen flickered. A map appeared: stars, planets, systems. "This is where they've gone," she said. "Worlds they've taken. Places still fighting." Jack stared at the blinking dots. "That's a lot of red." "Yes," Rhea said. "But now, there's one green light." She pointed to Earth. Jack leaned back. "So what do we do?" Rhea looked at him. "We help." He laughed. "Help, you and me." "Why not?" she said. "You're stubborn. I have powers. Together we survived the first attack. We can help others." Jack stared at the screen again. "Do you really think we could make a difference?" She nodded. "You already did." Months passed. Jack and Rhea became symbols, proof that the machines could be fought, that kindness, not weapons, had turned the tide. More people joined the cause. Scientists, soldiers, survivors. Rhea taught them what she knew. Jack trained them to stay human. One morning, a ship landed outside the town. Not a machine, a new one. Human-built. Fast. Strong. A commander stepped out. "We're starting a resistance," she said. "We need people who know the truth. Fighters. Leaders." Jack looked at Rhea. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. They both knew the answer. Before leaving, Jack stood at the place where he first found her, the cold field, near the woods. Snow covered the ground. Just like before, he remembered the way she had looked. Lost. Weak. Now she stood beside him, strong, glowing, unbreakable. Funny how things change. He turned to her. "If I hadn't opened that door." "You did," she said, cutting him off, "and everything changed." He reached for her hand. The bond pulsed. Not just light anymore, but purpose. They boarded the ship. Together. Not as strangers, not as survivors, but as something new. A human and an alien. A farmer and a weapon. Two hearts. One bond. And a message for the stars. "We're not afraid of you. We don't give up. We protect what's ours. We are human."